inside my own world of make-believe.
We'll see. But I'm interested in that. I really like Woody Valley.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
It's a little windy. I rushed all the way here, as you saw in the intro video. Yeah, it's probably gusting, what? You think that was a 20? What up, doggy?
What up?
Just kidding, just kidding. South cycle. Oh, he's in something already. All right. It has been an elevator ride up all the way to this altitude. I don't even know how high I am. I'm probably 3,000 right now. Just like booming, like a post-frontal booming day, and it's 5:30. It is ripping like it's 2:30. I'm still flying around with my pod open because it's too strong to take my hands off the wheel. Yep, I'm definitely gonna need to put the winter gloves on. No doubt in my mind. It is cold up here. So I want to share a quick story with you. One of the, and this is clickbait, of course, but just be okay with it. Most terrifying time in my life. This is one of the most terrifying. It's not flying related, but it was when I was in jail. At the time I was in jail, I was about, I would say between 135 and 145 pounds, and I'm only like 5'10". I'm like 5'9" now. Lost about an inch. Getting old. Anyways, these there's a couple guys in our pod that we stay in, and I had been in there for a few months now, so I've been working out and getting strong and feeling pretty confident about myself. And so I kind of clicked up with some of the guys that were in the pod to regulate. And when you're in jail, you call it torpedoing. So they say they send in the young guys to do the dirty work or whatever. I'm not that guy, right? So anyways, my best friend in jail at that time, this guy's name was Buff. He was young like me, and he had busted a bottle over someone's head, and well, the bottle didn't bust, but the guy's head cracked open and knocked him out, and he had all kinds of surgeries and stuff. And so he got a 5-year deal, 5 year in prison. Buff did. But before he went, anyways, we're sitting in Buff's room, and there's this guy that had just came in. He had just been booked, and it was something to do with laundering money. And he's a giant man, giant. And I can't remember his name. I really wish I could. And you would think that we would have had a nickname for him, but we didn't. And so he comes in the pod, and all the white boys are like, "Whoa, bro, he's a giant white dude." But when he opened his mouth, he has this South African accent. So he's from South Africa. So, oh, wow, crazy, cool. So we're like, hey, just want to let you know what the rules are of the pod, and kind of, if you have any questions, this guy over here is the head of the whites, and then we've got this is what we do in jail. Anyways, maybe I'll talk about the rules of jail another time. But this dude, after like 3 or 4 days, he was all excited the first day, and he's working out with us, and he went online and bought himself some commissary, and so he's thinking that he's going to be able to maintain his calorie intake. And he starts getting like super hungry, like starving after 3 or 4 days, because you're only getting about, 1,500 calories a day in there. And so we're all working out, but we're starving. And so what you do, you get 6 slices of bread, and you make your lunch. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, you make your lunch, and you eat 2 sandwiches, and then you save those 2 pieces of bread for something later. Maybe you're just going to eat the pieces of bread and some ketchup or something. And so that's what Buff was going to do. And the giant comes in his room, and he's, we thought we were friends. We're all excited because we have this big dude on our team. But he comes in and he says, "I'm starving to death." He sounds just like Arnold. And, oh man, there must be something popping right here, big. I gotta be careful. Well, anyways, he comes in and he sees Buff's sandwich next to his bed on the windowsill. And he just decides he's going to take it. He's like, "You don't understand. I'm starving." And he takes Buff's sandwich. Now, this is really bad because it's like Buff has to do something to, not get punked. You can't get punked in jail. And so Buff says, "Hey, bro, don't take that." And he kind of laughed, and he thought he was joking maybe. And then he walked out of the room and just took a big old bite out of it and just walked away. And we're like, no way. He just violated the rules bad. So we said, all right, man, we got to do something. And at that time, the head of the Whites was this guy named Padlock. And so Padlock, we go to him, and he's obviously a thief and could break into any lock. And so Padlock's he's like, well, we're gonna have to do something to him. And we take this. We had a rock that we took from the yard. And we put it in 3 or 4 socks. So it was this stretched out socks and this rock that probably weighed about, 5 pounds. It was heavy enough to do some damage. And anyways, he decides, we both make this decision between me and Buff. We're going to go tell Padlock we have to do something. And so Padlock's like, "Yep, we gotta go and tune him up." And we're like, "But he's gonna crush us. He's so big." And so we 4 or 5 of us get together, and we grab our rock. We called it Rock'em Sock'em, and we all sat by the bathrooms, which is where you handle business because there's no cameras. And we go and we're playing cards right by the bathroom, and then we see the giant go in there. And another thing that he kept doing that was against the rules is he would stand up pee in the toilets, because if there was someone at the urinal, you would just go to the back, and there was 2 toilets in the back, and there's 80 guys in the pod, so it was you're always waiting for someone at the sink or at the urinals. Well, anyways, he goes to the back to blow his nose, and me, Padlock, Buff, a couple other guys go strolling in the bathroom, and I could tell everybody was a little nervous, and I was super nervous. And he turns and he looks right at me, and then he looks at the other guys, and he kind of chuckles, and he's like, "Is this the line for the urinal?" And I go, "No, this is the line for you." And he was kind of close at that point, and I hit him as hard as I could. I punched him right in the face as hard as I could. And it was almost like he didn't think I was going to actually do anything. And when I hit him, it didn't faze him at all. Not even, and I'm not saying I have a good punch, but I connected with him, and it didn't faze him. And he's like, "Rah!" He throws me. I get tossed all around. And then before you know it, the other guys are throwing haymakers over me, and then Rock'em Sock'em comes out and hits him on his head, and I swear his hair shook when he got hit. It was like his head moved, but his hair stayed in place for a second, and it was the most unusual thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be dead. Nope. Didn't phase him again. And I was really mad. He's like, "Yeah!" Throwing guys, and he makes his way stumbling and slipping because the bathroom's already slippery, and he goes stumbling out into the main area. We had ripped his shirt off because we were trying to keep him from going out because we wanted to lump him up. And the Rock'em Sock'em hit him probably 4 or 5 times. One time when it thumped him in his back, just right in the middle of his back. I'm a boom. And so that's not the terrifying part. he runs to the door. He's like, bro, they're trying to kill me. And he's beating on the door. And we're like, shut up, snitch. And the guards open up the door, and then they come and try to find out what the heck's going on, who did what, and trying to punk us all, you know. They didn't spray mace, but they were really mad. And then fast forward, sometimes they will send you to court for no reason, and I think they do it just to like punish you, depending on what your charges were. Mine was aggravated assault on the police officer, and so I can imagine they wanted to harass me a little bit while I was in there. Well, they would send me to court for no reason, and this happened probably like 5 or 6 times. And every time it's like an all-day thing, and you stay inside this room called the dungeon, and if you've ever been in Joe Arpaio's jail, you know what I'm talking about. It is rough. Well, anyways, I go to get on the bus, and in the morning, first thing, it's like 4:30 in the morning, they call you, Robert Michaels, you have court, and he names off all these names, and we all have court. And so we're sitting in these groups of probably about 50 people a group, and then they would shackle you together in groups of 10 or maybe more, and so we're all shackled and we're all just sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this dude, and they gave me this nickname in jail. I hesitate to share it, but I'll just share it anyways. My nickname was Polar Bear. So he goes, Polar Bear. And I'm like, what the heck? I turn around and I see him, and I'm shackled with handcuffs to my hands and then chains down to shackles on my ankles. And I'm shackled to another guy, and he's shackled to another group, and he's like, we are on the same bus, Polar Bear, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, no. And sure enough, we're on the same bus. There's like 20 buses, man, and I end up on his bus. And so he gets on first, so he's all the way in the back, and I was towards the front, and I can hear him in the back talking smack. I'm going to kill you when we get to court. I'm going to kill you. And so I'm trying to like recruit other guys that are sitting next to me. I'm trying to tell them like, hey, you know, I need you to have my back. If this goes down, like, you know, have my back. And anyways, just sitting there was terrifying. But when it was all said and done, he never got a hold of me, but it was incredibly scary. So don't go to jail, guys. It sucks. Oh. It's turning out really nice.